This was well over a decade ago, but I wanted to share my story. I was born with a congenital heart disease and had surgery as a kid. Thankfully, I'm completely okay now, but sports were never my thing. I was small, skinny, and clumsy, unable to do the typical outdoor activities most kids enjoyed. As a result, I faced a lot of teasing and bullying, just the usual struggles of a geeky kid who didn't excel at football. In high school, we had a PE teacher who was a real piece of work. He was the stereotypical sports guy, always making fun of the slower kids. I still remember how he forced my overweight friend to attempt a gymnastics jump from a trampoline over a stool. Predictably, he fell hard and cracked his head. I'd come to terms with my situation long before, so I mostly brushed off the teasing. But it was frustrating to see how he encouraged the jock culture of mocking the nerds. We constantly played basketball or soccer, but my condition meant I couldn't handle explosive sports. I often had to sit down to catch my breath, and each time I was shamed for being the weakling in class. Despite all this, I actually enjoyed sports. My parents and doctors always advised me to take it easy, but I discovered I had no problem with endurance and steady, long-distance activities. As long as I didn't push myself too hard, I could keep going for quite a while. That's when I fell in love with road cycling. I first saw the Tour de France on TV and was hooked. I was super skinny and couldn't sprint, but I could climb mountains with ease, pacing myself and often leading others in the dust. I got myself a road bike and kept my rides a secret from my classmates. Then came the moment for my revenge. We had a class sports day, and a bus was arranged to take us to the top of a mountain for a hike. Our PE teacher announced that anyone who wanted could cycle up with him instead. I was the only one to volunteer. He looked surprised and made some comments about keeping up and not waiting for you, but I insisted. What he didn't know was that I was more than capable of climbing that mountain. He only saw me struggle in his class. Little did he realize that this was my home hill, just a kilometer from my house. I had climbed it over 100 times and knew it like the back of my hand. For cyclists, the climb is 12.5 kilometers at a 6.9% gradient, perfect for a lightweight rider with good pacing and stamina. On the day of the ride, I warmed up and prepped as if it were a life or death time trial. I showed up at school in my full racing kit and on my racing bike. I was 17, weighed 55 kg, and was ready. He, on the other hand, was a typical middle-aged ex-soccer player, probably weighing around 90 kilograms and riding a standard mountain bike. The stage was set. He set a hard pace on the 10 kilometers flat before the climb, and I stayed quiet, hanging back. I took my time getting back on his wheel after intersections, letting him think he could drop me once we hit the uphill. Then the climb began. It quickly became clear to me that he was nearing his limit, and his pace was at least 5 km/h slower than what I could handle. But I didn't attack. That wouldn't be satisfying. Instead, I started bantering about how someone was going to get dropped today, and how embarrassing it would be for the whole class to see me beat him. I took over the pace, slowly turning the screw on him. I went just a bit faster, then a bit more. After about 3 km, I could tell he was in the red. I eased off slightly, keeping him just over his limit for the next half hour. I wanted him to suffer without dropping him completely. If he looked too bad, I'd let him recover a bit, then ramp up the tempo again. It was like playing mind games at Tour de France level, and I've never enjoyed myself on my bike more. As we neared the top, I let it rip on the last 300 meters. It was that classic humiliation attack every amateur cyclist knows. He dropped like a stone. I felt a rush of satisfaction. He muttered something about his heavy bike, but I kept my mouth shut. But it got even better. At the top he was clearly spent, so much so that he had to vomit in the parking lot. A few classmates witnessed it, and word spread fast. He had to sit out the hike, while I quietly enjoyed the moment with him, relishing my sweet revenge. I didn't say a word after that, and neither did he. From that day on, he never made any comments to me in PE class again. The lesson? Don't bully your students, they might surprise you.